going on, everyone? This is Dr. Brent Pritt coming at you with another falling tutorial with Science of Falling. Today we're talking the half back roll. Now this is a great middle ground step between the normal backwards fall that I showed you earlier when you have very low momentum, and also the higher level technique of the full backwards shoulder roll when you have lots of momentum backwards. So this is great for a little momentum, you stumble backwards a little bit, but you're not running backwards essentially. So before you get into this, I highly suggest you watch that backwards fall video that I've done previously, but also the full forward shoulder roll, because that's really the foundation of a lot of the falling techniques that I've been showing here in terms of hand placement, that idea of diagonal along the back, and all those apply to this roll. So, matter of fact, I'm actually going to start this tutorial off with me doing a full forward shoulder roll to essentially explain how this half back roll and the full backwards roll actually start where the full forward shoulder roll ends. So if you see, that was the full forward shoulder roll. I just didn't come up to my feet, and when I landed, I ended up in this position. This is the entrance position of the half back roll. Now, when I'm here, I have a lot of my weight on this bent leg hip, and that's how you're gonna start. When you come from, you're falling and you come down, you're gonna land on that hip right there, and that hip is our starting point. Now, that's our starting point. Our ending point, our ideal ending point, is gonna be rolling to the opposite shoulder, that nice diagonal. So once we have that kind of concept down, we're gonna start here and we land on that hip. Think about hand position, just like full forward shoulder roll. Those hands are gonna make that nice triangle position here. They're gonna come up, and we have a triangle right here as well. Now, if you have your hands in front of your eyes and you can't see like you're wearing sunglasses, switch those hands about 90 degrees, and that is gonna be the perfect position. Now, what these do in a half back roll is they allow us to catch the ground and stop our momentum a little bit. Just like that. So that stops us from getting into an awkward, like 3/4 backwards roll where we can kind of end up on our neck, especially if we don't have tons of momentum. So it's gonna be a nice little soft break for us. All right, so we land on a hip, expecting to go to the opposite shoulder. Those hands, we have that hand position nice and locked in, and we understand where to put those. So once we have those two, let's get into essentially the meat of this half back roll. It's gonna be going from hip to shoulder, and just push yourself off the ground using those hands as a nice soft break if you need it. So that is the half back roll, and that's what it's gonna look like. Now, another thing about the legs here that are gonna help you control this half back roll a little bit better is when you're rolling backwards, try to keep those legs fairly straight with each other. So this straight leg, when you're entering, is gonna be the first one to come off the ground right here, and then you're gonna kick the second leg out, allowing us to have a nice straight pathway with those legs. And if we don't have that, if we have kind of these wonky positions, what it does is it throws our whole positioning off and allows us to lose control of where we're gonna go. So we want that control, because if there's an object behind us, if there is a person who's behind us and we're falling, not only do we not wanna hurt them, but it's gonna actually possibly lead to higher injury to ourselves because of the secondary situation that will occur. So to recap that, what we wanna do is get to that hip, fall, straight legs, and catch with the arms if you can. All right, the final little piece here that I want to talk about is how do you enter the roll from a standing or crouching position. So we talked about this in the full forward shoulder roll, that you're kind of falling along a line straight and you're trying to stay on that line for the most part. I also talked about that in the half or the side roll, excuse me. So the same ideas kind of apply here. If we're going to be following that diagonal along our back, right? That's the pathway that we're rolling. We kind of want to set that diagonal up with a straight line of path. So if I'm falling backwards this way, I want the diagonal on my back to be following that line as well. So when you're entering this roll, from a, let's say crouch position, you want to be 45 degrees to that straight line that you want to fall on, because now my hip on this side and this shoulder, that diagonal, is essentially going with that line, allowing me to follow that line, fall, and back up. Same applies when you're standing up. So if I'm stumbling backwards, get into that nice position here. Nice 45-degree position. I can contact the ground briefly, hit my hip, and then go. All right, guys, so let me show you a full backwards half roll. I'm probably gonna do it from a crouch position because it's less momentum, a lot easier to just kind of control that way for me. And then, yeah, that would be the tutorial. I really recommend you practice this for at least 5-10 minutes. It's fairly simple, and just kind of get a feel for those arms. I feel like that's the most confusing part for me sometimes, is I'm like, oh, where did I put those arms again? So really focus on getting those arms up, essentially to that shoulder you're gonna be coming out of. All right, so stumbling, stumbling, stumbling. I'm half 45 degrees, come here, and back up. And if you end up down here, just put those legs down, help yourself back up. All right, guys, so that is the half back roll. Very simple, just a little small moving parts to it, and it's gonna be a great setup to learn the full backward shoulder roll. So anyway, have fun learning that, have fun practicing. Happy falling.